talk to you more on the subject. With that, I would like to invite the next panel to the stage. The panelists include Dr. Aslan Khalid, focal person to Prime Minister on digital media; Asif Mir, CEO Systems Limited and Tech Vista Systems, UAE, and he's also a member of Prime Minister's Task Force on IT and Telecom. Naveed Qazi, Regional Leader Web, Global and Emerging Providers, Asia Pacific, Japan and China, Cisco. The next one is Rizwan Mustafa Mir, CEO of USF, Universal Service Fund. And the session will be moderated by Ghazanfar Ali, Country General Manager, Pakistan and Afghanistan for IBM. This is a 45-minute long session, and we will have a Q&A within those 45 minutes towards the end. With that, ladies and gentlemen, over to the panel. Thank you.
I think this is one topic which appears now in every conversation. Both buzzword and most used words. No conference happens without the word digital. So, what we decided today is in this panel that we will, when we started the day with an excellent speech by Sasab and saying, let's focus more on what we can do rather than more on thinking. So, what we decided today that today's panel discussion we will have on the areas that what we can do, what are the executions. So, it's more on what and how rather than why. I think we all know the digital opportunity for Pakistan is in this digital economy, whether you talk about digital economy, whether you talk about social services, whether you talk about public service delivery, or whether you talk about innovation and future value creation from Pakistan. There is ton of data which we all know by now, even a 13-year-old can say a good story on what disruption is and transformation is. So, I will start first with Rizwan, with you on because USF has played an important role in the baseline innovation infrastructure of Pakistan. The recent work of getting access, which is the baseline or the foundation of digital connectivity, there USF has done a great job. So, my question to you would be that in USF view and in your view, what is the opportunity in front of us? What are the challenges? And how we can make an impactful intervention, especially in the social sector area, take Pakistan to the next level on digital front?
Thank you for that. Thanks for listening to this panel. My name is Rizwan. I'm heading the Universal Service Fund in Pakistan, which is the charter of removing the digital divide in our country. So I'll take a couple of minutes and just give you my view on what digital transformation really means. Ladies and gentlemen, in 1985, there was a company called Blockbuster. It was one of the most popular brands every weekend people would go to the store and rent videos. Just in late fees, when people don't return videos on time, that company would fine, and their fines were $1 billion, just a fine. At that time, nobody could imagine that 20 years later, all of Netflix will happen, and within 5 years, some would eliminate that company. That actually, the example I gave, what I'm trying to bring home is there is a tremendous push globally on digital transformation. And the reason is, whether it's a business, whether it's a small and medium enterprise, whether it's a public sector organization, or whether it's a country and all the government, everybody is scared because it is no longer will not be digitally transformed. If you want to live whether you're a government, whether you're a country, whether you're a public or private organization. So that's why there's a significant market push, and across the sectors, everybody is contemplating how they can do this digital transformation successfully. Second thing, the need is obviously there. I don't think we need to debate it. I think we do need to understand it's urgent and it's not. We can't play around. So how do you go about making that digital transformation is the next question. So if you look at digital transformation, especially in the public and social sector organizations, private enterprise are a little more disciplined with fewer constraints. But if you look at digital transformation in the public sector, one has to realize that digital transformation is actually composed of three different dimensions. First one is people and organizations. Second is processes, and third is technology. Technology is actually involved. It's really about the people and organizations. The change has to come from the top, has to be explained to the stakeholders, and then only then they will change the processes to map and make them programmable and map to digital technology. The disconnect in our digital transformation and the projects that have failed is essentially the fact that people and organizations have not been brought on board with the digital transformation. We have a shiny technology, we have an ERP system, we put it in an office, nobody uses it. So it is extremely essential that we understand that the change that is needed with the advent of digitalization, digital transformation, has to happen at an organization. Without it, every transformation will fail. Now, taking a step deeper, looking into what Universal Service Fund is doing, or what we see as an opportunity in the social enterprise in Pakistan. Technology is a shortcut to all the development goals that any government has. Let's give you a success story. Let's take the case of Malwa in Pakistan. Started in the early 2000s. This organization did something really amazing. And part of the reason was there was stakeholder ownership from the very top. Given the mandate, given the power and the resources. And imagine now that with your Nadra ID, the digital ID, so we actually have taken a big step forward. Every citizen of Pakistan has a digital ID. It's not a small amount. But we just need to build on that. You have a digital ID and have a bank account, electronic bank account open like that. There are companies today that do that. There are new companies coming that can offer it. There are new certification courses where you can digitally and get certified electronically. So the question was, what's the opportunity? The biggest opportunity we have today is, I would put them three
रात पहले इस पे जो लगाई पूरी सेटिंग करी इसमें सेट किया जहाज में बैठ के सेट किया
We can solve these three challenges very at scale in a low cost manner, at very low cost.
Recording हो रही है
digital solution. However, the challenge we have is still we have masses of population that are not connected through broadband. There's good voice connectivity in our country, but we're still lacking broadband or broadband cannot build the digital future. We also have a challenge in terms of general adoption of digital lifestyle. Our people take a while to adopt the new way of doing things. And the third challenge obviously continues to be sustained policy and program. It is working in the public sector, I have previously worked in the private sector. Now, in looking at the constraints that are thrown at people who work in the public sector,
360 में रिकॉर्डिंग चल रही है अपने लोगों का कुछ
to design a policy that will please all the stakeholders. Policy on licensing, we're seeing there's some challenges there. How do you
मिक्सर बात कर लो आप
come up with a
रिकॉर्डिंग
policy
चल रही
for
है
spectrum sharing, for right of fiber?
ओपन नहीं देख यार क्या हो गया यार
Broadband to each and every citizen of Pakistan.
भाई
So I think there's a
इनको भी
big
खड़ा कर दो
challenge,
स्टैंड
a
पर डाल
lot
दो
of work that needs to be done to make sure broadband is affordable across the country. There is e-services that are being launched so that people can make use of these tools and make a digital Pakistan happen. I have some numbers to share, but I will save it for the next part of the conversation and hand it back.
Thank you. So that brings us to the next one, which is public sector service. And what we see on the floor is the government
हम लोग छालिए गए ये ले लो नींद आ रही है
and the new
आज जल्दी सो जाएंगे आज खाना खाने का चाहिए
where you act as a platform
मीटिंग में रेस करता है
and
हाँ भाई खाना खाने का चले आज हाँ चले सेवा
many developing countries that will
सेवर चले
And
सेवर
without resources, you won't go as far. So
सेवर
you
चले
cannot
खाना खाने
fulfill the need
खाना
of
खाने सेवर चले नहीं
health
दिल बन गया
through government on the resources. You need to create platforms where, first of all, the government services are digitized and offered in more citizen user-friendly way. And the second thing is that many companies or many departments within the government collaborate on the service which is provided. So, I think
कामन भाई
systems is
आ जाओ अपना फंगाली निकालो शुरू करो टाइमली बैकअप हो जो करना कर लो पूरे से कोने से कवर कर लो इधर खड़े होकर कवर कर लो पीछे से कवर कर लो कामबान आ जाओ बेटा ये 360 वाला लेंस आ लो भाई ये वाला फिश इससे भी कुछ कवर ये लगा के कवर कर लो मैक्सिमम कवर है जैसे वाइड
that's where I think you can be the best guy in the whole conference to tell because systems that work extensively.
Great, thank you, Vedant. It's a great question, and I think Rizwan has shared already why, and what we need to do in digital transformation. I think I will tell you very honestly and share my feedback. It's my opinion, my feedback. It's not like I cannot be generic enough. But digitization is nothing but looking at the use cases around you. Whether you are in a public sector or a private sector, or any organization that you lead today or around you, you see a problem statement, you see a use case, and then you try to forget about the technology when you think about digitization. I think people start thinking in complex words that how would I automate it, how would I digitize it, how would I convert that into some sort of digital transformation. It's not about that. It's about how you will solve the business problem, right? How would you address that use case by defining the process that will take this to, of course, once you solve the problem, then you need the technology behind it to make it digitally accessible. So, to answer Gazan's first question, like where the government is today, I think, of course, I would say we have not started yet. We have very few institutions like NADA and few others who has attempted and did something related to digital transformation and digitized the data and the records. But potential is huge and immense because we have not started, in my view, yet at a masses or global, at a national scale even, right? Every organization where you go, you see the files on the table. You see the file with the, ribbon on there's a file and then everybody is checking. I think for digitization in Pakistan, what it requires, technology is not stopping. It's a mindset. The people sitting at the positions, do they understand what they want to do with digitization? Are they willing to take risk to open it up and be transparent and track their own performances? Because when you talk about digital transformation, what is going to happen? It is going to be transparent, it is going to be tracked, somebody will monitor your performance, you can monitor against your KPIs. So all of these things, when you talk about digital transformation at any public sector organization, there is a mindset, there is a flaw. Until and unless we change that mindset, technology is not going to solve. So it's very important in our situation. HR is an issue wherever we go, whichever department, if you
देखो
go
मैं
to
करूँगा
the
देखो
right
मैं अपनी
place,
सुनी भी
they will think
जब वो
about
सर
it.
ने
They
बोला
will
लास्ट
have
वाले
to,
में टीम
like, they don't have to innovate too much, to
जब
be
वो
honest
टीम
with
नाम
you, for digital
मतलब ऐसे हमने
transformation, because we are
और फिर
living
ये
in an
वीडियो शूट
archaic
करेगा
world
तो
where
क्यों करना है
everything is paper, nothing is being
वो हमने
tracked.
वहाँ डालना
And there is no single window operation at most of the organization. You have
हाँ
to,
इससे
you have to do one thing, you goes to one step, it goes to one department, and nothing is truly
इधर से
integrated.
इधर से
But if
चाहिए
you
क्योंकि
look
फिर
behind the
लास्ट वाले
scenes,
तो
there is a data.
लास्ट वाले इवेंट में
NADA
डालना है तो
provides you a
ऐसे
lot of
बनाओगे स्टेज
information.
में
Say for
इसमें
example,
ये हम
SEC
उस सीन में
provides
डालना
you a
है
lot of information.
समझ तो
Every
स्टेज नजर
aspect.
आएगा तो फिर उससे
What these people need to think that how to integrate, how to solve the business problem, how to look at all the use cases that is around in their department.
सामने से
But
कैमरा
in
थोड़ा
order
ऊंचा
for
करके बना
them to
लोगे
do
तो काम
that,
निकल
they
जाएगा
have to be very open and they have to be capable to take those decisions, and they just do not hide behind some department that if you make this decision and if it goes wrong, I will be accountable for it. Technology, in a startup or a technology project fails as well. It's not like 100% of everything will be successful. But in reality, if we don't take the risk and hide behind certain accountability, nothing is going to change. So, in my view, I have worked with a lot of public sector organizations. We have automated HEC. We have automated their 75 business processes. And again, they are very simple use cases like degree attestation. You all know that, like everyone needs to go through it. We have just solved their problem by looking at their manual process flow and how we can automate and eliminate the process. And I can give you tons of examples. Any department you go, it won't take more than 30 minutes for the guys like us to figure out what digital transformation that department needs. But again, as I said, until we are ready, and public sector change mindset and be knowledgeable about it, have the right people who are willing to take risks and not shy away from the accountability, we will succeed. Otherwise, we will keep talking. Nobody is stopping us, but I think we are not taking enough risks or enough steps to digitize Pakistan. Because you guys must be getting it with all the conferences, but essentially the progress is not there where it should be. That's my view.
And I think the other thing is that we talk about leapfrog with technology. The biggest leapfrog we can do is in our thinking. If government doesn't have the HR of government, we can do people around. They are open government models, they are open data models. Even banking has got open banking, right? Open APIs. So if you don't have the talent, build a system where you can attract the talent. So I think that's the fundamental mind change. So that brings us to the next thing, which is one of the things which has to build in our lives is all this social media, digital media, and obviously with increasing number of smartphones, devices, and it has given rise to things like fake news. And fake news has become the biggest phenomenon, and it has become the biggest threat for the information age for which we are living. There are technologies which have come in, AI-based systems, which will see the biases of different systems which are flowing this information and stuff. But it will be very interesting to Dr. Islam, since you are the Prime Minister advisor on this media, that how does government view the digital space in terms of information? Where do you see right now we stand? What's the vision of the Prime Minister and this government that how we should take it to the next step?
The thing is that with this media government, we are the pioneers who started social media back in 2008. I would just like to go back to my story, from where I started. Like my story started from my study room in a laptop. So it was just a blog site where I logged in, and the moment I logged in, I felt that okay, I have a voice now. And 2 to 3 years later, when I joined the social media team of the political party, it gave me a sense of empowerment. That okay, now my voice means something. And finally, it has at this time it has come to the point that the same social media that it has given me a recognition. So we have gone through the whole 10 years. We have learned a lot about this social media and also the advantages and what are the disadvantages. First of all, there are like 19% of the Pakistan population who has the internet access. Some people may argue that it's not. 19% is not much, and maybe the mainstream media has much more penetration into the masses. But let me tell you that this 19% population is making more impact than the mainstream media penetration. I explain you why. There are lots of corporate structure involved in the mainstream media, while on the social media, each and every individual, he feels that what he feels he can express. And many of us may not be that eloquent. Like we can't make those lengthy vlogs and the speeches. But that doesn't stop us from thinking. That doesn't mean that that person don't have an idea that can change the world. That person doesn't have an opinion. So for those people also, digital media has provided an opportunity that they can express themselves. But right now, the biggest danger to this whole thing is the concept of fake news. I think the credibility of any medium, whether it's mainstream media or the digital media, is the credibility. If that goes down, the medium is going to die down. So the challenge for all of us, not only for the government, is to control this concept of fake news. For that, the government has decided to come up with act, the PMI, it's Pakistan Media Regulatory Authority, and the digital media has also come on that act. But even for that, what we are doing is that we have invited all the digital media publishers. We are not going to give a set of rules to the people that okay, these are the rules you have to follow. What we have done is that we have invited them, we have handed over to them a draft of the deck, but we want them to make the changes in that thing. And the biggest thing and the biggest challenge is empowering the people. There is no other way to solve the issue of fakeness until and unless the people can actually take action against the people who are spreading. So these are actually the challenges, and there are a lot of other initiatives coming in the second round.
Most important thing which comes at the end is economic issues.
नहीं हो गया सारी चैनल तक की अच्छा वहाँ पे भी चैनल बना देता मैं इंतज़ार कर साथ ही साथ वो आगे सामान आने के साथ मैं इंतज़ार करके जानता हूँ यहाँ पे मतलब उनको मैसेज किया अपने हम मेरे से काम करता है
And that's my question to you will be that
UCLA से
where are we stuck in this economy? Why, despite good connectivity, good consumers being on digital platforms or at least in the network, and we have Agra which is there for the last 20 years, we have financial system which is very strong, we have telecom system which is very modern. But our digital economy, state of our digital economy has not seen that promising results so far. So, I mean,
Well, if you look at the overall paradigm around digital economy and how connectivity enables that we have if you go back to the early
किसी भी हवाले से बुलाना इस्लामाबाद में कोई काम है हम हाजिर हैं मेरे बहुत बड़े सीनियर फोटो इस्लामाबाद के दाई से पहले इस्लामाबाद के लाहौर
and we had proliferation of overall network access. We are pretty much leading compared to but if you look at the current state of things, we are pretty significantly underinvested in this sector. So if we try to give ourselves self-satisfaction that Pakistan, our paradigm is really world-class and stability is the core behind our digital economy that we want to build, other things being the same, probably that's not true. So I think first of all, there is a requirement to invest significantly in the access landscape in the country. So after the award of 3G and 4G licenses, at least on the mobile connectivity side, you are gradually getting there. But in terms of fixed connectivity that is actually required to enable some of these businesses, we probably have still a very significant challenge. And if you go outside some of the major cities, you don't really have many sources of supply for broadband connectivity. So that is just on the connectivity part itself. If you look at the overall digital economy value system,
Obviously, government plays a big role in terms of enabling the infrastructure and also creating the enabling environment where private sector can invest. And you also have the regulatory framework to support that. So I think there is quite a bit of work to do in that area. And probably it's a bit of a longish discussion, but the industry stakeholders need to come together between the government, the regulator, and private sector players to really make sure that we have the right environment to entice certain sectors of economy. If you look at the different sectors of economy that can benefit from this kind of intervention, again we need to prioritize and develop a pseudo-national consensus on what are the areas that require revenue investment in this area, whether it's banking, education, healthcare, public security, that's not by the way, because obviously we have a finite set of resources. And then if the government creates the right enabling environment, we can have a pool of investment coming from the private sector and also possibly cross-border if it becomes a lucrative platform for people to invest and the ease of doing the business taken care of, then clearly Pakistan can invest in this area. But in the current scheme of things, it looks like so for the past 20 years, we have been talking about
वीडियो बड़ी लंबी नहीं हो गई खाने के वक्त निकल जाता है इतने हमारे तो फिश ऐसे बना लेंगे
before we can really harness this.
फिश ऐसे बनाओ
आधे घंटे में नमक सवाल
इसको बुलाना ऊपर ही आ जाओ
between the demand and supply side and some of the challenges that we see from education to skill set to having right kind of industry players that can actually leverage this kind of an enabling environment. So there is some work that needs to be done on this. On the sideline, we were discussing the kind of talent and skill set that we have available in the country. And generally, as a nation, we brag about that. But the practical reality is that we need to cross-train some of our youth to ensure that we have the right skill set available to be able to scale some of these sectors with a digital intervention.
So I think let's go to the next round. As I said in the beginning, let's think of actions and actions which should be taken tomorrow. Few of them, not 20 of them, and what should be the takeaway with government policy? And I'm not just going on the government only because what we see that as a overall economy, we have very less investment in the whether you're talking about private sector business, whether you're talking government sector organization, whether you're talking any aspect of our society, the overall investment is less. So, what would be immediate 1, 2, 3 actions which we can go sector-wise, so one we probably can start on social sector from your side.
So let me start off by sharing an interesting, funny story with all of you. I'm sure you have a similar story of your own. I had a friend who was heading an art organization, and one day he came home very upset. And I asked him, what's going on? He said, they're asking us to drop all paper and use email. So I said, that's very good. You won't need paper, and you won't need your PA. He said, no, that's not how it works. I asked him, you print the email and then I'll get it. So, having that mindset of change is very important. Otherwise, you will always find shortcuts around digitization in the government and public sector. So, what we need to do is this agent change has to come from the very top. We have examples in our neighboring countries where the prime minister themselves have asked for an all digital government school in very challenging short time frames. And it's to the limit where they have said that I will not approve anything on paper. Our government has taken the first step. From what I hear, e-office is a file tracking system that's been pushed across and it is funded by the government across the public sector organization and the government. But I think we need to take further large steps and go from government to government as well as government to civil society. So what needs to be done is I will share 3 concrete steps. Number 1. As a nation, we need to have a national broadband policy and targets. What it means is we need to assign targets as in the next 4 years, 75% of our population, or 85% of the population, will have access to 10 megabits per second uptake in download broadband. A number of nations globally have done it, and as was mentioned by my esteemed colleagues, you cannot have a digital economy without broadband. And that's a table stakes. We've got to have broadband. So national broadband policy, and more importantly, targets are really critical. We have to set targets, whether we meet them or not, separate story, but we need to at least have goals. Second, so by the way, before I leave this topic, where do we stand today? We made a lot of progress. We have 3G and 4G, but some of the recent reports that have come out, one from e-commerce, one by Facebook, they have made digital adoption across 100 countries and specifically Asia. Despite the progress we have made, we are 86 in availability. In the report measures more than availability and adoption, local language content, but versus availability, we are 86. And I had a team from Facebook come and asked about this report and said, why is it so? We made such that we have 35% broadband penetration. And so we're 86 in the world, what's going on? And actually we are last in Asia, believe it or not, at least as from that report. And they said other nations are moving faster than you. That's all there is to it. It's not that we have not made progress, but smaller countries like Vietnam, like Bangladesh, they just opened up the door. They realized broadband penetration is a national interest goal. Without it, you cannot. So we need to move fast. We need a national broadband policy. The second one is then we also need a policy because the government can just give good policy, right? Right incentives. They cannot solve the problem. They can enable us. The second and most important aspect is then the right of way. That means licensing costs for 3D, 4D, 5D, and fiber. To have fixed tariffs, very low cost, so that the private industry and our organization, University Service Fund, can drive penetration to the local economy. You know, we talk about 5G, that's the next thing on the horizon for mobile connectivity. Nations have come to the realization that giving that spectrum and letting the economy generate the returns is a better deal than charging billions of dollars up front and cash strapping the operator or industry who are then going to build the network. So I believe Japan has given that network for free. They said, okay, go build the network, we don't want any money. We will get the money from the returns in the market. Sweden is offering a low price, even to third world countries. We are obviously teams and foreign exchange. So there's got to be a balance in 5D spectrum options. So we need to facilitate by lowering the barrier to entry to 5G, 4G, and other high-speed broadband technologies. And the third thing is obviously the one that I spoke at the end, right? The number put it right, we need to have platforms. So why can't Nabra be a platform? Open up all the APIs, that's what India has done. They have actually done, they started late with their Aadhaar program and the India Act. They started late, they built the digital identity, but now they've leapfrogged us. Because they opened it up and they said, anybody who wants access, if I'm an insurance company, I need to look at sample population and say, Sakta, I want to figure out what are my target audience. I can just send a programming message to the database and get out what's my client audience. It just opens up the world of opportunity. I can do handset financing, which means people that cannot afford handsets and now getting financed like that. So opening up the national database as an asset where the economy can do it is, I would think, the third most critical step in the process. So Asif, coming to this quickly,
I think I would say one quick thing. I think there's lots mentioned about Nabra. What I would say is that we just government has to, like, whether private sector does it or government does it, doesn't matter. But how every department should have been asked to get the digital report for what they do. Once somebody starts asking that question, like, okay, I want to track your performance digitally, then you can start thinking that how can you produce that report for digital transformation in my society. Once it is not being asked and you start from the beginning input side, things won't change. Since it's a quick action, that's what we need to do. Every government open up for their citizens portal, and it could be thousands of services that would be exposed. That every citizen wants to interacts in their daily issues or monthly, weekly, whenever you want to interact, it is available digitally to you on your mobile phone or your internet as a portal. And again, we can leverage this scenario and other things that portal banking sector, open APIs, open banking, all of these payment capabilities, a lot of things have been done. So we just have to think simple, think new, and think quick, and make decisions that what type of services that we would like to launch tomorrow. And once somebody creates a plan, it's not rocket science. As discussed, it could be done in a public-private partnership, it could be done by governments alone, whatever is possible, but somebody has to think about it and ask about it and start doing something from tomorrow. Because if you start adding few services and open it up, advertise it, and public and masses uses it, then it will open up and give more momentum to other departments to do the similar things. That's what we need to nurture the culture, and we have to spread that message that we do whatever we can to do it.
So I won't take much time. 2-3 initiatives that we are taking. I must admit that there are serious capacity issues in the government departments when it comes to digital media. Like we had the Facebook conference where representatives from Facebook came and we had focal persons nominated from each ministry there, and most of them couldn't even make an email. So we have the capacity issues, but we are working on it, and hopefully by the next month, every ministry will have their own social media accounts. And what they are directed is that they will be posting daily updates of authentic data, so that there isn't any confusion about it. I believe that if we public the data, the more public the data is, the more transparent the things will be. So this is one thing we are working on, and the other thing that we are actually working on is that we want to actually make the digital media industry self-sufficient. What we have observed in recent years that there are people and there are platforms that they have been doing tremendous work, like
कभी उनके SSD की जरूरत पड़े इसमें अनसार्टा लगी हुई है जिसमें विंडोज है हार्ड ड्राइव लगी हुई है इधर और एक SSD लगी हुई जो इधर है भाई SSD निकलती है बैटरी निकलती है ये प्लग करोगे ये बाहर आ जाएगा
so they are compared to join them and they lose their original intent. So the basic thing that we are working on, and we have invited all of them, we are having good conversations with them, and what we are trying to do is to facilitate them is building some sort of industry where this digital media industry can flourish on its own. Like a simple challenge they are facing when talking to them is they say that they have to run on the secondary content. They don't have the studios, they don't have the access to government departments. So we are working on it that at least there is a criteria that these digital platforms that fill this criteria should be given access to government meetings, press conferences, and be facilitated to go to the areas and make some original content. Like the sports, I mean, local sports is such a huge thing which we are missing on the digital front, and India has probably done a good job there. So I think learning from the other countries is also happening, and I hope that in coming years we are going to have a good media industry.
Just 3 steps or 3 actions on digital.
I think we need and external funding can also be arranged, because this is absolutely critical. This is the platform we need to build in business. The second is the national data strategy, because without really having kind of segregation of data that is used for different businesses to leverage, and then virtualizing that from making that available for cost. So this can be a profitable business actually for the government in public spaces like healthcare and education. So to me, that is the second most important step, and this is probably done in parallel. The third is more like a national framework on digital enablement. Right? And you can come up with top 3 or 4 initiatives. It can be such as education, healthcare, public safety, logistics, with initiatives. Or we can build our consensus across private sector and government as to what they are, and then really going full steam after that, and making it real, because there's a lot of hype around the digital transformation. All the governments and all the constituents and stakeholders, they have the nice PowerPoints. But as Asif said, we need to basics, as we what are the real challenges in a particular organization, a sector, or industry, and then try to solve them. And it has to be correlation between the specific subject matter knowledge and the technology skills that we can bring to
आता के कोई ट्रैपॉड
ऐसा नहीं चलो ठीक है सही किसने बुलाया स्टार्ट में नहीं क्या जाओ तुम सर्विस कराने पैसे हैं ना तुम अब्बू के पास जाओ बोले साकिब ने बोला कि 1000 रुपये दे दे एवरी सर्विस करवा मैं बोलता हूँ दूसरा ये कि आई से स्टार्ट तो करो क्या कर रही है
I think reason for opportunities immense, and as I have been sharing in multiple forums, every other sector in Pakistan can grow in percentages, like 10, 15, 20%. I think the only sector that grow in economies. That can grow in times and that can change with 100%.
बैटरी को चार्ज करवा लो ना एक काम करो बैटरी को निकालो एफडी में रख के लेके जाओ और सर्विस कराने आ रहा हो ना पहले उसको सर्विस के पास जाओ बैटरी वाले के पास जाओ और उससे जो है ना इसको चार्जिंग करो और इसको पानी वानी चेक करवाओ और एवरी का भी पानी चेक करवाओ कि उसकी लाइटें बिल्कुल डिम आ रही है फिर सर्विस करो इसमें सर्विस हाँ वहीं चले जाओगे लेकिन उसके पास जाओगे ना बाबू भाई आ रहे तो ये वारंटी में है ना तो वो सही कर लेना चाहते हैं उन्हीं के पास चले ज़्यादा अरे वो जो यार आयशा मंदिर में है जिनके बारे में बात है ट्रक की जहाँ से चेंज करवाते हैं ना हाँ आमिर के बाद वहीं चले जाओ वहीं जाके करवाओ और एवरी को भी है ना पानी भी चेक करवाना और बैटरी भी चेक करवाना क्योंकि एवरी की लाइटें बिल्कुल डिम आ रही है उसको बोलना इसकी बैटरी भी चेक कर लो और उसकी जो डेट लगी हुई है ना उसकी तस्वीर बना के व्हाट्सएप करना है एवरी वाली बैटरी कब की लगी हुई है और पानी वानी चेक करो
What Indians and other countries have done, they have tapped, they have brought the business back, they have given knowledge to the local government. So we have to do that necessarily. And we need to make sure
काम में लेते
that
बेटा
we, that development is future, and we see there is no
बना ले
restriction in terms of expansion and getting money outside of Pakistan to make sure we set up the operations, we bring more business to Pakistan, and it's an ease of doing business. It's not like, and also from growth perspective, if a small, medium-sized industry needs to grow, they need to have some lending facilities, some capital injection that is available for the growth. Because as you know, our neighbor countries, all the big industrialists, they have invested in IT sector to grow them. So IT export is immense. We can definitely grow in times. We have the talent. Supply is not an issue today. We can train people. It's a demand, and we collectively need to do the demand generation. And government has a big role to play in selling and branding Pakistan wherever they go. If they talk about technology innovation and outsourcing as a destination, things will change gradually. It won't happen overnight, but things will change for sure.
But since we are waiting for some of our panelists to arrive for the next session, we can take some more questions. Again, my request is please keep your questions short, so a maximum number of people can have the opportunity to answer questions.
वालेकुम अस्सलाम हाँ बोले
Please do introduce yourself before you ask the question.
अरे मैंने जो भेजी है उनमें जो वहाँ पहुँच चुके हैं
Thank you. My name is Dr. Imran Khalid. I work with STPI. A quick question regarding
तो पहुँच चुके हैं वहाँ पे वो
moving
आ गया
towards
उनका
IT. So, a few years back, we held an auction, perhaps earned about $1 billion from three different
और सिर्फ कल का बोल रहे हैं आप
What are a couple of lessons that we can take forward when thinking about
नहीं वो टीम अलग है ना मसला ही
I think things have changed So 3G and 4G options was about revenue generation.
असल में वो पहुँचे नहीं होते हैं तो वही गलत बात थी मैंने जब वो टाइम दे दिया यार 2-2:30 बजे तक वहाँ मतलब पहुँच जाएंगे तो वो पहुँचे उनको घंटा है असल में मुझे पे करना पड़ेगा मसला ये चलो मैं उनको फाइल तो कराऊँ कि फिजूल ये बैठने तो बाकी देखते हैं लेकिन क्या होता है
What they are saying now is we are going to give you spectrum at a discount, and then you make sure you deploy the technology, and when you connect the population with broadband, the returns will come to the tax collector indirectly. So one of the World Bank studies actually says that if you increase the penetration of broadband by 10%, your GDP grows by 1%.
अल्लाह का शुक्र है
So
हमें
just by
निकले तो
doubling
नहीं
the broadband penetration of a nation, you can grow the GDP by a number of percentage points. So that's
अच्छा
how
फ़ोन भी कर दिया
governments are
मैंने भी उनको यही बोला मैंने ना आपने जो टाइम दिया मैंने उनको रवाना कर दिया वो पहुँच चुके
in
हैं
our country, I think we
वेल
need
अभी
to
सीन ये कि मेरे पास उनका फ़ोन आया था वो कह रहे हैं यार मेरे से गलती हो गई और मैं मतलब ये कि कल शायद रात में
So
जब
what
फोन
is
आया
like
उनके पास
now,
उन्होंने मुझे इन्फॉर्म नहीं किया और अब सीन ये है कि प्रोग्राम सिर्फ कल
would
का
like
एक ही
to
दिन
know
का है
that when we talk about digital
एक
economy,
ही दिन का है वो भी
when do
कल है
we plan to go ahead with the blockchain technology?
कोई मसला तो नहीं कोई नाराज़गी तो नहीं है तो इसमें जो भी होगा वो मैं आपका ख्याल कर लूँगा बाकी
Blockchain is,
चल चल
I think
चल
it's
कल
from
कल कल ये टाइम
for
होगा
it.
कल
Of course, it's very useful
ये
for
टाइम हाँ अभी आप एक काम करिएगा अभी उनको ना एक फ़ोन करके बोलना है मैं 1 घंटे से आया हुआ था तो ये बता दीजिए कि फ़ोन आया तो मुझे आप कल का टाइम अभी नहीं बताया अच्छा चलो ठीक है मैं बात करता हूँ मैं बात करता हूँ चल चल बहुत शुक्रिया
that is given by the blockchain. So, in education, in government sector in particular, there are many use cases that we have worked along with our organization that we can define the use cases. For blockchain, we are ready, technology is there, skill set is there, and people have done it. We, again, as I said, like when I was sharing that, how do we automate e-services and other stuff, this is the same thing that what I would like to share here is that people have done it, the countries have done it. We just not have to reinvent everything. It's already there. We just have to adopt and identify the use cases so we can start implementing and reaping the benefit of blockchain and other technologies.
This is not a question of when we are ready or not. We are ready. It's time to take an action. So, for example, in this government, if the biggest agenda is transparency, then blockchain is the biggest tool of transparency. Because it's the biggest tool of making the government transparent. And whatever digital systems are existing, for example, land records are already digital. All you need to do is add a blockchain to all land record transactions so that it cannot be modified. So it's not a question of when, it's a question of how you want to do it when you want to start. We are ready.
This was the last question.
Let me sum up, and I think wonderful conversation. We started with the social side of it, that the problems of this country as far as healthcare, education, learning, outcomes, and all those things is concerned. We have a huge mismatch between the resources the government has and the problems we have as a country. And the biggest biggest intervention, the shortest path is through technology. Where government can come and prepare a platform where both sides can be matched. The second piece is about digital economy. Our future of digital economy is very, very bright because if you see, we have 200 million plus population, huge native population, young population. We have seen one example. It takes years and years to build an enterprise in Pakistan who can be sold at $1 billion. And Pakistani guy who created Kareem Dubai, platform was sold at $3 billion. $1 billion in Pakistan. If you want to leapfrog in economic outcomes, digital is the best.
काम नहीं करना है
Platforms which we
आसनों
use in Pakistan, they will have this ability to so many things. It's just a matter of when we start doing it. And the third piece, which Dr. San has mentioned, is about giving the empowerment to create the content lifestyle and create the thinking of this nation. So if we focus in these three areas, digital economy, outcomes to digital tools, and participation, and we start taking action now rather than building a long-term strategy and short-term strategy. We all should go back to what's the action which I will take today in my organization and push tomorrow. What will be the outcome which I can deliver in 3 months, in few weeks, that will make a difference. Everything is available, onus is on us, onus is on every one of us wherever we go.
Thank you very much, Mr. A big round of applause for the